It seems that whenever we review a new car nowadays, it always tends to go long because there are so many features, so many systems when it comes to driving, like hybrids, plug-in hybrids. We have to also explain all the fancy ADAS features of these vehicles. But what if we can go back to a simpler time? This is our review of the new Mitsubishi Mirage for 2025. Yes, it sounds weird to say that. Hey everyone, Vince here from AutoIndustriya, and yes, today we are looking at the 2025 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, the four-door variant of the Mirage line, which first emerged here in the Philippines, at least in this generation, back in 2012, followed by the G4 variant back in 2013. And this is, I think, my first time video reviewing one of these because really back then I was still more of a writer. I wasn't really doing any video reviews, so it'd be nice to take one out for a drive for all of you today. Now, the Mirage nameplate is a very proud and very storied one for Mitsubishi. It's right up along there with things like Lancer or Pajero, two models that we no longer see in our market, unfortunately. And for a Mitsubishi fan like myself growing up, and even up to now, that's kind of a sad thing because back then we had the Lancer box type when I was a kid. We did also have a Minica when we moved over to Japan. Yes, we moved there a long time ago. And then a Mitsubishi Chariot, which we would know here in the Philippines as the Space Wagon. And then when we came back, we also got an Adventure. When I first bought my first car, it was a Lancer, followed by another Lancer. So yes, I have quite a bit of history and affinity for what Mitsubishi has to offer. And as you know, the Mirage is also a storied name for Mitsubishi Motors. And this generation has been around for quite a bit, but they've been evolving it, adjusting it over the years to make it a little bit better, one step at a time. We can see that with the look. Now, this look has certainly changed, but that was back in 2021 when they first launched this facelift of the Mirage G4 with the new front grille, the new headlights, the new front end, and the fog lamps. Yes, we're also talking about fog lamps today. It's been a while. The hood, we can even see this classic style of hood-mounted sprayer for a spray nozzle for the windshield. It's something we don't really get to discuss anymore. A lot of these new vehicles have moved their windshield washers over to the actual wipers or right under the hood. The cowling over there, the wheels, these are 15-inch wheels. Really not much to talk about here. It's just probably a new design. The same kind of door handles, like the lift-up lever over there. And also, yeah, broke my hand, broke my finger, so don't mind that. But yeah, very simple to use there, no mistaking that. And a lock button there for the hands-free. One thing I did notice here, though, is that when they were tightening up, adjusting the doors, it's kind of a bit tight. So when I press it down, it doesn't really lock in. It takes a bit more force to get it locked onto there. But yeah, pretty simple stuff overall. Nothing like no black roof, no fancy rally art bits or any of the sort. It's all pretty straightforward family car from here on out. There really is no denying that the Mirage is straight up economy car. You can see it with the back. Of course, this is being the facelift since 2021. It does have that rear end, which has these things, that the reflectors, which makes it different from the one that it replaced. Also, the taillights have changed for the 2025 model, I think, or was this part of the 2021 facelift? Whatever the case, it's still pretty much simple when you look at it from any kind of angle. Same Mitsubishi Mirage G4 logo there, same chrome there. There is a rear camera here, so when you do put it into reverse, you'll see a display on your screen. But to open the trunk, press that, it opens up. There you go. And really, it's one of the biggest trunks for this size of vehicle that I can remember, because this one measures about 3 feet long, like from here to there, and 52 inches wide at its widest point, which is quite impressive again for a vehicle of this size. This is a small car, just 4.3 meters long, but it pulls its weight when it comes to space. Also, it does have a spare, but a space saver spare underneath there. Your jack, your tools most of them are in there along with an emergency kit, but your jack is underneath the front seat. So yes, it does have quite a bit of space. And when we close that, it closes with a nice solid thud because we have to give it a bit more force to get it to lock onto there. What else we see? Antenna over there, third brake lamp. Yes, we mentioned antenna and third brake lamp because there really isn't much else to mention with the Mirage G4 because this is straight up economy car and it always does work. But we'll see more of that inside. Well, this is a proper throwback Thursday, isn't it? I mean, the Mirage has been around for more than a decade. This one has had a few updates since I last drove it, which was probably, I don't know, maybe 2017 since I last drove one of these. So it still looks pretty much the same, although they did change out the console. They now have this auto climate control, this 2-DIN audio unit, which has FM, AM, Bluetooth audio, and Android Auto. So yes, it does have Android Auto via the USB over there, and it actually works pretty well. Now the sound quality from this is not really going to be anything fantastic, but it does work. Now, what else do we see? Steering wheel here. They added a few more of these piano black bits. They have the audio controls here on the left with your Bluetooth over there. Your three, I guess, triple cluster, basically instrument panel here, with your tachometer, your speed, a lot of other warning lights that aren't on. Of course, good. And then you have your little multi-info display there with your fuel economy. Right now, it's going to be inaccurate because we've been static for a while. Push button, ignition button there, and then you have your wiper controls. If you've been in many Mitsubishi models in the past, all this will look very familiar. Power windows here, power mirrors, and your stability control. Yes, this one does come with stability control now. That's a good touch. Now, down here, little pocket here, little blank over there, and then the USB outlet. The 12-volt outlet is over here, which is, you know, where it was always before. Two rather small cup holders. Up top, we have the light, which is nothing really, you know, much to write home about. And then the Bluetooth, I think this is a Bluetooth, or maybe not. No, this is probably going to be the sensor for the, you know what, I'm not even sure, I'm not gonna guess what that is. This one, it doesn't come with the car, it's Marcus's door opening mechanism for his garage. I wonder if I press it, if it's gonna open. No, we'll see. If Marcus comes home to a house with an open garage gate, this is gonna be why. Now, automatic transmission here, useful for me because I have a broken finger. It's a PRND, and then when you put it into reverse, you'll get the rear camera there, gonna be quite useful. But if you notice, when it does that, it's gonna flicker a bit. Oh, it did flicker a little bit before when it turned on the camera. Reverse, neutral, drive, and then the low gear or engine braking, depending on the kind of slope that you're dealing with. That's gonna come in handy. Here, one cup holder, glove compartment, tray over there, which is useful for my phone while it's plugged in. But really, it's a no-frills car. And we can't really expect much from it when it comes to this because it hasn't really changed much, but still, they produce it right here in the Philippines. Now, in the back seat is actually quite spacious for this vehicle. And also the trunk, like I showed you earlier, is a very spacious one. But now let's go take it out for a drive and reminisce about the simpler time when cars didn't bother with hybrids and they just worked. Getting behind the wheel of the Mitsubishi Mirage, it feels like a real throwback, you know, because everything feels pretty much exactly the same as before, you know, in pretty much all respects. The only thing that's really changed is this. This one, the AC has been around for a while. The power windows, yeah, is normal stuff. You know, like all the things that were like kind of cool back in the day, you know, back in the 2000s and early 2010s are pretty much still here. Nothing really significant in terms of, you know, feature upgrades apart from the audio system. So yes, it is a bit of a throwback, but it all still works, to be honest. You know, we're not expecting, like, let's say a premium car in terms of the level of NVH or the power, because you drive one of these and you put your foot to the floor and then you really get more noise than actual acceleration. That's just the way it is. And also when it comes to fuel efficiency, you can get easily 12 kilometers per liter out of this, depending on how many people you have. I mean, in my traffic conditions, that's what I'm normally getting. You'll probably go down and up depending on how the traffic is or how many people you have in the car. But the 1.2 liter 3A92 at 78 PS is not really gonna, you know, bring any big numbers apart from the fuel economy, particularly when you're in traffic. You also feel a bit of the vibration because it is a 3-cylinder, not a 4-cylinder. So you feel a bit of that through the body. That's just the way it is with an economy car. And an economy car, this is. If I was to knock it for something, it's really for the value proposition when you look at some of the other newer models already available in the market today, particularly from the Chinese brands. Because the Chinese brands, they want to impress first-time car buyers. That's going to be their key market. And they've come out swinging in this price range with a lot of models that offer way more than what the Mirage can. And that's really unfortunate, and that's really going to be the way it is, because producing a car in China is going to be a lot more affordable. They can give you so much more because of their grand economies of scale. They can give you all the fancy features, ADAS that you may want. Even the hybrid systems you may want, they can give you that for the price of this, or at least close enough for you to consider those. And that's going to be the unfortunate part for a car like a Mirage, because it's really competing in a time when it's already quite behind a lot of the newer models. But the great thing about the Mirage is that it is a known quantity. There are no question marks about it anymore. And there's a reason why, like right there, I see a Mirage. Over there, there's a Mirage parked. There's another one coming through here. There are so many of these vehicles because, for one, well, it's a known quantity, you know, like it's easy to maintain, it's affordable. It'll get you from A to B. Here, there's another Mirage over there. Get you from A to B to C to everywhere else on that alphabet with no fuss. It's just gonna work, it's just gonna run. And if ever there's a problem, it's very easy to fix. Also, they have a lot of promos in Mitsubishi. I mean, when it comes to the pricing of this, we'll talk about that in a bit. But the pricing usually is kind of a suggestion. That's why it's a suggested retail price. But when you go to the dealer, it's usually a bit more affordable. And then the best part about Mitsubishi is that Filipinos, we love Mitsubishi. You know, there's a reason why Mitsubishi is so loved here in the Philippines, why it's number 2, only country in the world where Mitsubishi is number 2 in the market, next to a Toyota. And that's because they stuck with us. You know, Mitsubishi became a part of Filipino motoring life and the families that we have. I grew up with Mitsubishi, I told you that earlier, which is why we have a soft spot for this, for the Mitsubishi brand. And also, I have to say, it's made in the Philippines, man. I mean, this is one of the few cars still made here, and it's gonna be hard to knock it. You know, call me biased, call it what you want, but made in the Philippines, still great to me. You know, the Mitsubishi Mirage does take me back a bit. It's kind of like a time capsule on 4 wheels to see this still in showrooms. I mean, Mitsubishi does do 2 models that does take us back. One is this, the other one is the L300, which they're still making in significant numbers over at their plant in Santa Rosa, Laguna. But the Mirage, in terms of the innovation, we're not really seeing it here anymore. This is straight up economy car. And we have to appreciate it for what it is. We can't really measure it up against the hybrids, the new BYD hybrids, or even the larger Toyota Vios and all those other models, because it was not built in that time. What this does represent is local manufacturing now, and it's still every bit as solid as we know it, and it's just a car that you can count on. That's what this offers you. However, it is admittedly behind in a lot of aspects. As you can see, when we were driving it, when we were listening inside, you do hear a bit more noise all around. You feel a bit more vibration from that engine, because this one is quite a few generations behind already when we compare it to many of the current models. The pricing though, well, that's up to you to decide whether it's attractive, because this one retails for 937,000 pesos. There's a lower grade variant, which is with the manual. I think it retails for 793. But really, when it comes to this kind of vehicle, you kind of get exactly what you pay for. No frills, but really, it does work every day when you need it to. Unless you guys have experiences with the Mirage, let me know in the comments below. Anyways, that's it for my review of the Mitsubishi Mirage. Let's go take it out for a drive and go check out the fourth strip in BGC. Ay wait, wala na rin pala yung fourth strip, no?